This is a recap for Monday, January 4th. And we watched a video today, and the three main steps to solving a two-step equation, we emphasize really the first two. And we will talk more about the third step a little bit later in the week. But the two steps to solving a two-step equation are to undo what has happened in a two-step equation. So the first step is to add or subtract in order to isolate, and that means to get the variable by itself, and then to multiply or divide to solve for the variable. So those are the instructions, and we went over a couple of examples, so I want to go over and solve those. And we watched the video twice. The first time we just watched the video and let that explanation go, and then the next time I went over it myself, and that's what I'm going to do right now. So I'll just use a red pen. And this is kind of like if I had a student in class, and let's say that student was named Joe. And I said, Joe, can you think of a number? And he didn't tell me that number. And so he just thinks of this number. He's got this number in his head. We'll do a little thought bubble here. And I don't know what that number is. He's got it in his head. And I say, Joe, can you please take that number and multiply it by 2? And he does, and he gets a certain number. And I said, don't tell me that. But now add 3 to that. And I say, okay, now tell me what you get. And he says, I got 9. Then that's what this is. That's what this means right here. So I would then start to go backwards, and I would subtract 3. And the reason I do it twice is I don't really do it twice. It's just once in 2 places. I'm subtracting 3, but I'm keeping track of it over here, and I'm keeping track of the total. But these are equal to each other, so it's really the same thing. So 9 minus 3 is 6. So positive 3 and negative 3 is 0, and that's why I subtracted 3. So I could undo this. That is just 0. So the left side is really a different way to organize this information up here. So 2 times the number is equal to 6. So now I'm back to here. I had asked him to multiply by 2, so I'm going to divide it by 2 to undo what he did, and then get to where he started, which he must have thought of a 3. And if I asked him, he'd say, yeah, I took the 3 and I multiplied it excuse me, by 2, like you asked me. And then I added 3, like you asked me, and I got 9. So that works. So that's what each of these is. Some unknown number has been determined. And then instead of the answer, it's a 2-step clue. So 8 was multiplied by 5, and then 8 was subtracted. So the order is really important here. 5 was multiplied by, and 8 was subtracted. Now, the difficult part on some of these is knowing what has happened. It's easy when I tell the story, but if we just have the symbols, sometimes it can get difficult. So let's see. Oh, I'm adding 8 here, so that is 30. So I divide by 5, because that undoes that multiplication by 5, and x is equal to 6. So 5 times 6 minus 8, that's a minus 8, is equal to 22. 32 minus 8, or 30 minus 8 is 22. All right, let's go to the next 2 problems. And this is where the symbols can get confusing for quite a few people, because if we wanted to tell the story of what happened here, we would have to say that Joe multiplied the number by negative 2, and that is not at all obvious from this right here, that he multiplied it by negative 2. And then he added 9. It's just something that we have to learn about these symbols. So we're going to subtract 9 to undo that, and that creates a 0, so negative 2x. So he multiplied it by negative 2, and this is 14. So we're going to divide by negative 2. Negative 2 divided by negative 2 is 1. We don't write the 1 in front of the x. 14 divided by negative 2 is negative 7. This one, a number was multiplied by 4 and then 43 was taken away from it. So Joe is stepping up here in his level by multiplying by a little bit bigger numbers or adding and subtracting a little bit bigger numbers. 43, we're going to add 43. Remember here we have a positive and a negative we're combining, so we find the difference, which is 32. There's more positive than negative. This part is just 0. We don't need to write we don't need to write 4x plus 0. We can just write 4x. Math is all about writing what is equivalent and writing what is a true statement to try to solve a problem. So in this case, our problem that we're trying to solve is what is that value? So we're going to divide by 4. And notice how I put the x on the left side. That's fine. X is equal to 32 divided by 4 is 8. And we were to check that, would look like this. Negative 11, 4 times 8 minus 43. So 4 times 8 is 32. Is negative 11 equal to 32 minus 43? Yes, it is, so that checks out. And then the other thing that I want to show you is what we did for about 10 minutes in class. We went to card 2 of the Pear Deck, which is the one that's always due on Tuesday, even though we have more time to work on it. It's just where I put it. And on this one, you choose 5 of the letters. Let's just choose, for example, G. So if we choose G, then on paper, we're going to solve the problem. And then we're going to get the answer and just write it in the answer only. You have on Pear Deck, you have the tools you can write. Then you go to the next page and you connect a G with, let's say you thought the answer was negative 15. So you're going to do a matching. So when you're done, you're going to have 5 of these letters and you're going to match them with 5 of these answers. If you, back here, solve a problem and the answer doesn't show up here, then look for your mistake, look for your error, try to find it, and if you can't, then contact me and I'll help you try to figure out that problem. Hopefully we're going to work in some breakout rooms tomorrow. I'll get that organized, and that is the recap for Monday, January 4th.